Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping straight into one of the most jaw-dropping and honestly most powerful narratives in human history. We're talking about a tragedy that went down long before empires even existed or modern wars were fought. It's the story of the very first recorded murder in Scripture, the ancient story of Cain and Abel. But, and here's the kicker, as we're about to see, this isn't just some dusty historical account. It is an absolutely brilliant, incredibly relevant psychological study of human nature. Because it all boiled down to this. One single emotion turned a brother into a murderer. So could it be hiding in your heart? I know, it's a super heavy question, but the absolute truth is the exact same feeling that completely wrecked Cain's life, envy, is literally out there destroying lives, careers, and families today. We're gonna break down exactly how that happens. Let's watch how this builds. Section 1, the root of envy, the offerings of two brothers. It all kicks off with these two brothers and what they brought to the table. Okay, let's dive into this. When we look at the offerings of Abel the shepherd and Cain the farmer, Scripture tells us that God favored Abel's offering, but, well, he didn't really regard Cain's in the same way. Now, it's super easy to assume this was all about the physical stuff, crops versus livestock, but that wasn't the issue at all. It was entirely about the psychological and spiritual state of the brothers' hearts. Abel approached with pure faith, total sincerity, and devotion. He gave his absolute best. Cain? Not so much. He brought an offering that lacked that wholehearted commitment. His attitude was fundamentally flawed right from the get-go. And when Cain realized God favored his brother's offering, he lost it. He was furious. But here's the thing about that kind of fury, it doesn't just happen instantly. It's a quiet little feeling that snowballs into an absolute catastrophe. Visually, it looks like this. Day 1, it starts with a simple comparison. You just look at what someone else has. Day 2, that comparison morphs into a feeling of unfairness. You start thinking, wait, why him and not me? Day 3, that unfairness festers into deep resentment. Actually, instead of looking inward and asking how he could improve, Cain fixated entirely on his brother. And then, day 4, devastating action. The progression is super slow at first, and then it's just catastrophic. Section 2, the unheeded warning. Sin is crouching. So before any physical violence even happens, God steps in and asks Cain a very direct question. Why are you angry? Why has your face fallen? Now, what's really interesting about this quote is the highly specific language God uses in his warning. Sin is crouching at your door, desiring to control you, but you must rule over it. Just listen to that intense imagery. Sin isn't just a simple mistake, it's literally depicted as a predator. It's crouching, just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. It actively desires to take the wheel. But God empowers Cain here. He's making it clear that destructive emotions start long before destructive actions, and that Cain has the power and the absolute duty to rule over them. Let's bring this into our world for a second. Envy poisons thoughts, it distorts judgment, and it leads to devastating consequences. Think about your own life. Most of us, thankfully, are never going to commit an act of physical violence. But jealousy, wow. Jealousy damages relationships, it completely ruins workplace dynamics, it shatters long-standing friendships, and it tears families apart. It makes us resent the success of our peers instead of, celebrating it. It creates this toxic bitterness right where gratitude should be. The warning given to Cain is a massive warning to all of us today. Section 3, the first murder, a tragic climax. Tragically, that warning was completely unheeded. I really want you to just pause for a second and feel the weight of this moment. Cain ignored the ultimate warning. Instead of mastering his jealousy, he allowed that predator at the door to master him. He invited his brother out into an isolated field, away from witnesses, away from anyone who could possibly intervene, and he attacked him. The text here is so incredibly sobering. Think about it, the very first human death recorded in Scripture wasn't caused by old age. It wasn't some terrible disease or an accident or a natural disaster. The first time a human life was extinguished, it was caused by hatred fueled by envy. Unchecked jealousy was the ultimate weapon. It's this stark reminder that what happens quietly in our minds eventually spills out forcefully into our reality. Section 4, the question of responsibility. Where is your brother? Right in the immediate fallout of this horrific act, God steps in again. God approaches Cain and asks a question that echoes through the corridors of history. Where is your brother Abel? Now, God obviously already knew what had happened. This wasn't an investigation. This was a clear, open door for Cain to step up, confess, and take responsibility for his actions. And this brilliantly illustrates the depth of human denial because Cain answers with arguably one of the most famous and cynical deflections ever spoken. Am I my brother's keeper? Think about the psychology here. He is deflecting, he's revealing his profound guilt, and he is completely refusing to be held accountable. He's essentially saying, hey, it's not my job to look out for him. But here is the hard truth we all have to face. Freedom does not eliminate responsibility. We live in a modern culture that highly champions personal freedom, and honestly, that's a beautiful thing. But freedom means you are accountable for your behavior. You cannot blame your boss, your family, your upbringing, or your circumstances for the choices you make today. We are our brother's keepers in the sense that our actions, our words, and our attitudes deeply affect everyone around us. We have to govern our own actions. So how do we actually stop this crouching predator before it strikes? Well, here are 4 incredibly practical antidotes to jealousy. First, practice gratitude. Focus heavily on what you have been given, not what others have. Next, embrace humility. You've got to accept that you won't always be first or the favored one in every single situation. Third, engage in self-reflection. When you feel that twinge of envy, and you will, interrogate it. Why do you feel it? And finally, I challenge you right now to celebrate others' success. The next time a coworker or a friend gets a massive blessing, force yourself to rejoice with them instead of secretly wishing they would fail. I promise you, it literally changes the wiring of your brain. Section 5, justice and mercy coexist. The final outcome. So the crucial point is that God couldn't just let Cain's crime go unanswered. The blood of Abel literally cried out from the ground. Injustice never escapes notice, but the philosophical resolution of this whole story is deeply nuanced and pretty surprising. We usually think of justice and mercy as total opposites, right? But look at how they perfectly complement each other. Justice addresses the wrongdoing, upholds what is right, and ensures actions have consequences. God totally delivered justice. Cain was cursed from the ground and made a restless wanderer. But then look at mercy. Mercy offers compassion, protects from further violence, and seeks restoration. They are 2 sides of the same divine coin. And here is that mercy in action. Cain was terrified that as a wanderer, whoever found him would just kill him for revenge. But God placed a protective mark upon Cain, ensuring absolutely no one would take vengeance against him. This is an astonishing detail. Yes, Cain faced severe consequences for his terrible actions. Justice was absolutely served, but he was simultaneously blanketed by a profound mercy that protected his life. It shows us a creator who does not ignore sin, for sure, but who also does not delight in complete destruction. Which brings us to our final, lingering question. Will you allow destructive emotions to control you, or will you master them? Look, we are all going to face moments of intense jealousy, anger, or feeling like we've been treated totally unfairly. That is just part of the human experience. But the real question is how you will respond when sin is crouching at your door. Because mastering your emotions doesn't just shape your own destiny, it absolutely protects and shapes the lives of everyone around you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If this challenged you or gave you a totally new perspective, please share this explainer with someone who might really need this message today, and subscribe for more deep dives that transform the way we see the world. Until next time, stay focused and keep learning.